Welcome to Personal Injury Marketing Minute.
Welcome to the Personal Injury Marketing Minute, where we quickly cover the hot topics in the legal marketing world. I'm your host, Lindsay Busfield, and I'm the Vice President and Partner at Optimize My Firm. Today, I'm joined by David Vicknair, founding partner of Scott Vicknair, a Louisiana-based personal injury law firm. While many personal injury lawyers lean on their experience as defense attorneys or bring in experience from other legal backgrounds, David also brings in experiences from the hospitality industry, leaning on his team's collective knowledge of those principles and how to make clients feel uniquely welcomed. Thank you so much for joining us today, David.
Hi, Lindsay. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, as we get started with this, tell me a little bit about your firm and your practice and how you got started.
Sure. So my firm is both me and my law partner, Brad Scott. He's the Scott and Scott Vicknair. Brad is primarily estate and probate. It's like a different world over there, I like to say, in the probate and estate group. And so he's got somewhere between 12 to 15 team members in the probate team. And in the injury part of the firm, it's all me. We've a total of about 32 team members, myself included. We've got 6 team members in Mexico and 26 here stateside. And we are about 98 to 99% personal injury in my group across the state of Louisiana. Part of that is, I say 99%, because the first 10 years of my practice were really, call it a mixed kind of everyday practice, meaning we had no corporate companies, we had no really insurance company clients. It's all like small to medium size, 50 to 100 employees and less. Company clients, individuals who were clients, miscellaneous litigation for them, and general counsel work that was not covered by insurance, construction litigation, business litigation, real estate litigation, all those kinds of things, a bit of everything, and then some PI. I've been doing injury work since I came out of school, both with the firm I worked for 4 years, and then when I decided to go on my own and work with Brad Scott, I leased some office space from him. But really in the last 3 to 4 years, when we have started to primarily focus our practice at Scott Vicknair on injury work. And I say 99% because there's been some like legacy hourly clients who I'm just been representing some of these people and their families for like 12 or 14 years. I didn't have the heart to just withdraw from any of those cases. Still managing them as we softly hand them off to potential new counsel for things that come up down the line. And that's kind of a little bit about us.
I love it. It's such a great background, and you have so many different types of experiences with different litigation that all of that clearly comes together to help serve you, serve your partner, and serve all of your clients in a really great, unique way. And the reason that I brought you here today is I want to talk about your practice and how you have truly built a culture that is client-centered. And it's not just drawing off of the feel goods, but you have something in mind from the hospitality industry that you're drawing in these principles that help other hospitality industries stand out and have applied them to your law firm in a really unique way. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you got the idea of applying hospitality principles to your law firm?
Sure. So I've said this before. I kind of say it all the time. I think sometimes the people at the firm are sick of hearing me say it. I think of the firm a lot as a football team in a restaurant. We're in New Orleans, one of the best restaurant cities in the world. I think it's the best. And there's been some publications recently who have said it's the best. Just going to brag on New Orleans a little bit there on the food scene.
I think we all know about the bourbon and oysters. So
on the food scene. And then on the football team side, I was a football player. I coached football. I was between becoming a football coach or a lawyer. And so a lot of the way I approach what we do in the organization is as a team and how a football team operates and works. So on the hospitality side of that, the way I like to think about it and explain it is in football, there's some basic tenets that make you successful: blocking, tackling. Okay. The everyday boring things that if you execute as a team, make the team in football and in the business world as a team make us successful. So on the firm side, right, like how do we achieve hospitality and results? Our main why is to give the best hospitality and the result to every single client. Impossible, right? Let's be honest. Like you're going to make mistakes. You're going to not always meet expectations. But the question becomes, how do you execute not at like 70%, but 95%? And so for me on the hospitality side in a day-to-day, it means client communication. How are you systematizing client communication? For starters, we have something called outbound calls. We expect every client to get a proactive call at least once a month, and we track it, we publish it. It's a piece of the way we track the performance metrics of all of our case managers across the firm. And inbound calls don't count, but that's like a small little blocking and tackling, like that every month the client is receiving something they don't get from every other law firm or expect. A proactive check-in, right? Number one. Number two, like everyday blocking and tackling on the result is like internally we have an FCV, a full case valuation committee, where we set the value of every case to settlement or verdict above $25,000 to systematize and ensure both. We have a meeting every month with all of our lawyers to set the value, and then we have office hours throughout the month to set the value. So nobody can settle a case above 25 grand without there being a pseudo focus group in considering all factors of the case to ensure that it is not undersettled or make sure the case doesn't settle if it needs to go to trial, right? So those are the two main points I would say, like on the day-to-day consistent things that we try to do, like the blocking and tackling of client communication and the result that you can achieve for every single client on each case. But I think what you were maybe getting at a little bit is like our hospitality program, and we do look at it as a program, and it's like never ending. We're adding things into it. And the best way I can explain it is we kind of look at everything in reverse, and we're like, what does everybody else do? Let's figure out a way to do the opposite. And we want to be the opposite of normal. And, at first it kind of, I'm going to be honest, at first, like, I think some of the older litigators and that are my age and some of the other people in the firm are like, has he lost his mind? But the more and more they see these things get implemented, they see the experience of the client and the third parties that we work with, whether it be medical providers, whether it be court reporters, whether it be defense attorneys, like all these other third parties that are in our world of everyday practice as a plaintiff personal injury law firm. They see the response to all these things, and it's the opposite of what they would have expected. In a good way, you get more and more buy-in to all of the different pieces of our hospitality program, to the things we do in the lobby when we have walk-ins and planned guests, to the things that we do in our client center now that we've built, to the things that we do in miscellaneous random gifting to clients. So there's all different types of pieces along the client journey that we've built in to ensure that the client has the opposite of what they would expect when they interact with a law firm.
And I think you have to do that, especially in the market that you're in, where you have some huge players out there and you guys are all competing for the same market share. And as you know, they are spending millions of dollars every month or every year. Some are every month, but there's a lot of money going into the market. And everybody kind of is doing the same thing. You have the same figurehead saying the same thing with the same free consultation. We'll get you the biggest settlement that you possibly can. But in order to actually stand out in a saturated market with big players, you need to be doing something that is substantially different. And I think that by incorporating your hospitality program into your law firm, you are taking part of the industry expectation and turning it on its head in a very positive, memorable way. So talk to me about some of the pieces of your hospitality program. What are you doing to make your clients feel appreciated and uniquely appreciated apart from, every other case number that's out there?
Yeah, so for starters, let's start with like what I call like the lobby experience. Somebody walks in, and this is, by the way, not just clients, it's court reporters, it's the FedEx guy, it's everybody. They walk in, if they're a planned guest, there's a TV and their name's programmed in the TV welcoming them. We put that up for defense attorneys. We put that up for if an adjuster's coming with a defense attorney. We're going to welcome everybody, okay? And you could think that's a small and silly thing, but I've seen like 30-year tenured defense lawyers like be in awe and like feel like it was so amazing that somebody took the time to welcome them and put their name on the TV. We hand them a menu, which is got all kind of different things. We offer them water or sparkling water. We have cookies that are baked in the lobby for planned guests, and so the lobby kind of smells like cookies. We have them ready for their arrival, and it's just like an extra special welcome. And I think like all of those kind of things, along with the way that your team buys in, like our client experience specialists in the lobby, make when they walk in, they just feel a different way than what they feel if they'd walk in every other law firm and they look at that, oh, look at that lovely piece of abstract art that came from Home Goods. Like, okay, what does that do? Like on the lobby wall in my lobby, it's like photos of our team. It's a screen print that we've had put on the wall of me and my mom, who's in all of our television commercials. And so everything in there is intentionally designed to make people feel something different when they come here. And so that's one piece of it. We've just finished building our client center, which is I'm really excited about, which is not only where we keep like merchandise and swag, but it's also got client reviews on the wall. It's got another wall where we screen printed all kind of photos and welcome the clients to be in there. It's a dedicated room. It's got a credenza, a nice coffee machine, TV. It's a dedicated room for us to not only do like disbursements with clients, but it can kind of morph into like it could be a break room if there's no disbursements or people visiting that day. It could be a collaboration room if it depends. Like it's just a warmer room that feels a little bit different than our conference rooms and is a lounge for clients to once again just feel something differently than what they would feel at a normal everyday law firm, or more than what they would expect. And outside of the office itself, I would really say one of the things I'm most excited about that we started last year is what we kind of call our miscellaneous or random client gifting program, where everybody in the office has a budget. It ranges from $400 to $600 a team member. And at any given time, they can just decide. It could be right. There could be somebody sending one right now. They talk to a client. The client's having a bad day. They send them like a $30 pick-me-up gift from Amazon. And we have an office administrator, administrative assistant, Mandy, who tracks that. She sends out the spreadsheet every month to show where everybody is on their budget. And the one rule of that, there's a couple rules of that gifting program. Number one, it's completely up to the team member on what they send, how much they spend on each client, and why they send it. They could just like the client and send it. That's fine. It's up to them. And number two, it should never, ever, ever be a branded gift. It should be something that is no brand related. It is just unique, special. And so, we have wrongful death cases, which are hard. We have
Yeah.
a lot of times they'll send like there's a light on Amazon which has a prayer on it, and that lights up, and they put like the picture of the lost loved one or something like that in the little frame, or a blanket with a prayer on it when they've lost somebody. So that's some gifts I've seen a lot of go out. Sometimes it's like there's like a sunshine pick-me-up box. One of my intake team members was showing me she sends a lot of times, like $30. It's like a candle, it's a blanket, it's like socks, it's yellow, it's bright yellow. And so it's like when she's like, when I talk to a client, they're kind of down, I send them this. So it's that kind of thing which I get excited about, because it gives each team member autonomy to make their own decisions and to start to think like a decision maker and just execute and decide things on their own without having somebody dictate it to them. And on the receiving end, as the client, they never expect these types of things. They're thoughtful, they're personalized, they're unique to them, and that's the opposite of what they would expect from a law firm.
And I absolutely love that, especially giving your team members autonomy when it comes to deciding who to gift and how much and where, because that goes beyond saying this is our corporate culture, here is our value statement, here's our mission statement, and just having it be left at that. It actually gives buy-in and goes a step beyond to create ownership of that corporate culture. And that will start at the top and clearly trickle its way through the organization, and your clients will really feel seen and heard and appreciated in a much deeper level. And on one level, it's great just from a basic human empathy standpoint. Clearly when people are coming to you, it is not on their best day. It's because something really unfortunate has happened. And now you can take that experience and just, create a better life for them, just starting with that piece of appreciation. But that obviously trickles out from a marketing perspective, and they, I'm sure, are much more likely to sing your praises and bring in referrals when somebody else that they know needs your help. Have you seen that happen the more that you've grown this hospitality program?
Yeah, it's amazing. I think last year we're at 30% of our new cases were referrals, and believe it or not, I'm not happy with that. I wanted to get to 40%. So and I always tell the team we do a state of the firm every quarter. If you want me to show you with data that our hospitality program in each quarter every year we're putting new layers into this, right? Like there's new things we're adding in right now as me and you were talking. And ultimately, I think we'll probably have a dedicated person who is, from like the book, I don't know what we're going to call them, but like in the book, for example, Unreasonable Hospitality, 11 Madison Park had a dream weaver, but we'll probably have a dedicated team member at some stage where they are running this program and all aspects of it and helping it execute. But yeah, I tell them, it's like, you want to see the data behind what everybody from intake to case managers to lawyers to reception to administrative team members, that everybody in our organization and our team, if you want to see the effect of it, watch the referral numbers year over year over year, because that is the data point that you can prove that the experience and the way you make people feel is giving you a concrete business advantage. But aside from like looking for data, like just think of yourself as a consumer. I saw something the other day, the guy John Taffer, who, if you watch that thing, he goes bar rescue. He goes and rescues these bars that are failing. And I saw something online the other day. He said something like, you can get every restaurant's trying to get everybody to the it's like the third visit, because if they come the third time, they're 72% more likely to come a lot more times. And so there's different things that they design to try to get people to come back the second or third times. And it's something I've seen like a lot of people in the restaurant industry talk about, that from a hospitality perspective, like Danny Meyer has famously said this, it's like people come for the food, but they come back for the hospitality. And so if we think about that in our own experiences as a consumer, who we are, right? You could go to a restaurant, have amazing food, but the worst service experience ever, and you probably won't go back.
Right.
And so like as a lawyer, like you may have $1 million policy limit personal injury case. Let's say you settle it for max limits. You're like, that client is going to send me, they could never send you a client again, even though you got $1 million policy limits for them in that case. They may never, because maybe their experience with you was so bad or they're so forgetful, they'll go to somebody else or recommend somebody else to their family and friends. And so from my perspective, it's like people may come for you because they know that you're a good lawyer, that you have a good legal team, that you're going to help them on their case, but they're going to come back and they're going to recommend you to others by how you made them feel, not just on the result of their case. And I think in the legal industry, we just don't think about that. We don't, or there's some orthodoxy on like, put the piece of abstract art in my lobby and buy this exact furniture. And this has to be serious because I'm a serious lawyer and we do very serious things. I mean, life isn't that freaking serious. Like, why don't you just have some fun with what you're doing in your law firm while you're doing it, is my 2 cents on it. So.
Well, and for those who do take it really seriously, you think about this in terms of cost per case acquisition. So you can be going off and spending $5,000 per case acquisition for a personal injury lead if you're running PPC ads.
Yes.
Or, you have a typical case acquisition cost of, maybe $1,500. Think about if you were to be spending half of that budget on a client to make them feel welcome, make them feel appreciated, and sending out a $30 gift, a $50 gift. And if that leads to one or more referrals down the road, you have just created a fantastic return on that investment that's going to supersede anything that you could possibly spend in the marketing industry. And as a marketing company, don't want to say that too heavily.
No, that's 100. No, it's 100% true. And so I don't want to give the wrong impression. Like, I do take the practice very seriously. I take every case very seriously. Like, I'm looking at our data with my COO, my marketing director, with our leadership team and our coaches. Like, we monitor our data daily. Like, we're looking at it seriously. But I could almost guarantee you that like our CPA, our cost per acquisition, would be at least $1,000 more in this market if we wouldn't be doing some of the things that we're doing from a hospitality perspective, that ensure that the client has as amazing of an experience as possible, so that not only will they come back, but they'll talk about us and recommend us to other people. And the biggest aha moment I would say about this, just because New Orleans is a restaurant city, like if you just think about it in our own lives, like you go to a great restaurant where the food was on point, the hospitality was amazing, and you went there 2 or 3 times and they were always on point, right? Like that's like things in casual conversation that you're going to tell others, like, oh, did you try the new place? Oh my gosh, the food's amazing. The service, you want to tell people because it's a conversation piece, right? Like people want to talk about us. They want to talk about the fact that they have a lawyer. I don't understand it. Societally, they do. They want to talk about their lawyer. It makes them feel a little important. And if you do that for them, they're going to be like, listen to my lawyer. He does this, he does that. Listen, they just sent me this gift. Like, and that's going to be how you can kind of spread like wildfire without having to spend the amount of money that's necessary to compete with some of the bigger spenders in your market.
You will absolutely create an army of walking billboards for your
Exactly.
law firm if you can create that hospitality environment, and that will pay off tenfold and also just make you sleep really well at night knowing
It
that
just
you
feels great. Yeah, it's not like it's not a fake thing. It's not. It's just it makes you feel good. And when you see the which we've achieved now, where the team is largely all buying into it, it's just fun. Like
Yeah.
they get enjoyment out of creating these moments for people, and in making sure that that experience is a type of experience that we are talking about right now. And so that is really fulfilling too when you see your team buy in and understand it and then execute it. You see the culture that you've created that delivers that type of experience to the clients. Like, look, nobody's perfect. We fall short sometimes, but 90 to 95% of the time, that's the experience that we're creating, and I'm really proud of it.
And that has to come, from the top. It has to be part of your team. And so when you are hiring people to be a part of your team, what kind of backgrounds are you looking for? Are you looking for people that have experience with hospitality and really enjoy that, bringing that experience to your team?
So I would say first, if they worked at Chick-fil-A, the Ritz-Carlton, or Disney, it's like they're probably immediately getting a sit-down interview because it's to me, those are the three of the gold standards of delivering systematically hospitality: Disney, the Ritz-Carlton, and Chick-fil-A. And so, I mean, like, so that's a piece of it, right? Like, that's just a serious, like, I'm like, if that's on their resume, I tell my administrative team, like, that's a serious candidate. But we do eschew, I will be honest now, we've kind of flipped hiring on its head too. It's like, when I started practice, we would hire people, we'd look for, oh, what experience do they have? What Now we're looking more and more outside of legal for experience to come in as like intake or case managers or reception or whatever, administratively. We want people who have service experience, baristas, hotels, whatever it is, retail shop. Like, think about the crap that they've had to deal with on a day-to-day basis in those positions, like, with how some people have probably poorly treated them. The really good people, they've been all over the roller coaster in those roles and understood how to deliver hospitality some level evenly throughout that, and they've got the background in it. Like, that's going to put you a leg up, is my 2 cents. So it's a big benefit if they've got that on their resume, and probably more important in some respects, depending upon the position, than legal.
Yeah.
Now, of course, like, we're not hiring a lawyer who has not been ever tried, practice law, unless they're coming straight out of law school, right? That's a little bit of a different. But if it's a lawyer who's coming straight out of law school, true story, and in college they worked at these 4 jobs and they were service related, that's a leg up for that lawyer in my book.
Yeah. Well, and it's the same with our team here, where you can teach skills. You can teach how to do SEO. You can teach how to do backlinks. You can teach how to, work within certain systems, but you can't teach somebody to have a good personality. You can't teach somebody to be a team player. Like, that's either part of your personality or not. And they're either going to fit within the principles of your corporate culture or they won't. So hiring based on certain experiences, certain passions, and those things that can't be taught, they're going to bring to the team in a really meaningful way.
Yeah, absolutely. And ultimately, the thing that I think I'd want people to think about and just acknowledge is, like, it's your law firm, it's your practice. You get to decide what you want the culture to be and what's a priority to you. And so once you kind of build the foundation of that culture, it either is a place that people love and they never want to leave, or it kind of spits them out. Like, they know this isn't the right place for me. And guess what? That's okay. Like, God bless them. I hope they have an amazing time doing whatever it is. It's the right place for them and the right seat for them at whatever time is right for them. It's just, your culture does not have to be for everybody, and you've got to accept that and move on.
Because if your culture is for everybody, then you're absolutely not standing out from the crowd.
Yeah.
You want to
If you're
bring people in that vibe on your frequency, and that is going to make everybody's day, from the inside out, a little bit brighter. So, and talking about your background, we had a little bit of a conversation before we started hitting record here about why you shifted into personal injury practice in the first place. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that, because I think that experience and that mentality also feeds into the creating mentality that is just good for everybody.
Yeah, so I was having this conversation the other day with someone. It was something went south on a case 3 or 4 weeks ago. I was really just like, ugh. And I'm like, is it ever going to stop? It's like 14 and a half years. Is it ever going to stop being ugh? And the answer was kind of an aha moment for me. It was like, well, there's two choices. You are all in on your cases, and that's the way it is. You breathing them, you're living them, your emotions are in them, and the byproduct of that decision, the consequence is that you're going to have some ugh, right? The opposite choice you could make is you just phone it in and baby the cases. But there's consequences to that choice too, which is like you don't have the ugh, but you don't really have any of the fulfillment or the meaning or the way that certain people like me in practice, whether it's a lot of plaintiff lawyers like that, some defense lawyers who are really invested in their cases. And so you got to make a choice. And so for me, I've always kind of been that way. It's like if I'm in, I'm in. I'm not gonna like put my toe in the water in a case and baby the case. Like if I'm working in the case, I'm invested in the client, I'm invested in the case, like it's meaningful and I'm gonna take it seriously. And so that, I think looking back now, I didn't realize at the time, doing hourly work, not at the insurance or largely corporate level, created this like no-win situation on 90% of your cases. Meaning if you're representing a person, a small business, or an individual, it doesn't matter how much you manage your billings, how much you reduce them. If a case, you don't control things in litigation, and so you have to respond to motions, you have to file motions, you have to do certain things that even if you try to like lay out this great budget to be very judicious about what you spend money on in litigation, that gets blown up really easy. And so I kept getting put in these situations where I would invest years of my life into cases and get to a pretty decent or good result, but the client was just not happy. And they weren't not happy with my legal work. They weren't not happy necessarily with the result. It was like so much money went into the litigation that there was no way for them to win. And I just kind of got to a place where I realized like the hourly model was not going to work for me from that perspective. Now, it's a little bit different if you got a Fortune 500 company or huge corporations like that. That's a little bit of a difference. So to me, that I was just unhappy being in that system where even though I did everything I could and worked my best, like and won the case, the client still was not happy because they technically kind of lost.
Yeah.
And so I knew I wanted to do a contingency model because while I was doing all these hourly cases, we were still doing injury work at the firm I worked for 4 years at a law school, and before I went mostly all injury. Those clients, it was the opposite, and it was like there was a good result or there wasn't if you lost, but it wasn't like if you had the good result, it was so demoralizing that they couldn't win. They could, and so there's really only, like we were chatting about before the show, there's only personal injury, employment, first party property, maybe comp. But like, what else? What else can you do that's a systematic contingency practice? Not that many others, maybe ERISA and long-term disability, but that's kind of how I settled on shifting completely out of hourly work and going to PI.
Well, and I love the mentality because it is either we all win or nobody wins. And, either you are going to be delighted by the outcome of this, hopefully, or, we're all kind of in the same ship together. And I think that really speaks to how you're both informing what direction you're taking your practice, but also feeds into that hospitality model because everybody needs to be coming out of this experience feeling like a winner. And I think that is a great mentality to have. It also feeds into your football model there. So as we wrap things up, what advice can you give to other attorneys who are really wanting to dig into that hospitality mindset and make each of their clients feel welcomed and appreciated?
Two things I would say high level. Number one, change your perspective. We are so ingrained sometimes by vendors and our own mindset that and look, I'm not eschewing SEO, PPC, TV, radio, but like we do all these things in our marketing program, right? But like sometimes we are prone to forget that the most important thing that we have is the clients who trusted us. And if we deliver them an amazing result and an amazing experience, that's almost sometimes the best marketing we can do. So take care of the people who trusted you to begin before you look externally to bring new people in. Okay, number one. And the second thing is put yourself in the client's shoes and map out the client journey at your firm from when they call to when they sign with you throughout their case until the case closes and the file is archived, okay? and figure out what can you do at each point that not only one would deliver something that's unexpected that they would find meaningful and different, but number two, that would be what you, if you were the consumer, would want. What do you not like? Okay, so let me give you a concrete example. I hate getting call recorders. I want to talk to a person. Okay, I want to talk to someone who can help me solve whatever problem it is. Do I need a plumber? Do I need to do certain things? Like, we are no different. So figure out what it is that can change the experience for each of your clients, and just start doing one or two things. You do those, you implement them, and then you do one or two more. And before you know it, you're doing like 20 different things. And the experience over a 2 to 3 years period, as you've been tinkering and putting new things in, has completely changed for every single one of your clients.
That's great. Definitely find something that you can do to make them feel welcome and stand out from everybody else that's out there. And that will wrap up today's episode of the Personal Injury Marketing Minute. If you want to learn more about David Vicknair at Scott Vicknair, you can find them online at scottvicknair.com. And if you're a personal injury firm thinking about growth and client experience and how that factors into your marketing strategy, you can reach out to me at lindsay@optimizemyfirm.com. Thank you so much for listening, and be sure to like, leave a review, and subscribe to the show so that you don't miss out on our next episode. And thank you so much, David, for joining us today and graciously giving us some of your expertise on how to make a very client-centric law firm happen.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for having me.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.